Shooter ready.
Yep.
Shooter ready? Stand by. Shooter ready. Stand by.
Shooter, are you ready? Stand by.
Shooter ready.
Stand by.
Shooter ready. Stand by.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Shooter Are You Ready podcast. Awesome episode lined up. Very excited for this one. And I'm not even gonna take all the credit for this. I'm gonna bring in my co-host. Hey, Paul.
You roboted at the perfect time.
Oh, awesome. I'm excited. Like I told our guests, I'm gonna try not to fanboy out here. Yeah, I'm already. I can feel the vapors. This is gonna be a good one. So, are you ready for this, Paul?
This is the only guest that we've had that my friends have been excited for us to have. Otherwise, everybody else I bring up, they're like, oh, that's neat. And this one, they're like, oh my God.
I was pretty excited. I told my mom, and she wasn't as excited as I was, but maybe she'll get it later. Maybe she'll figure it out. Paul, I'm gonna be such a friend. Go, you want to bring him in? I'll click the button. You give him a sweet intro because you got the sultry voice.
So our guest this week, let's just hit on a couple of career highlights quick.
Little guess.
IPSC Shotgun World Champion, gold medalist 2018, repping the stars and bars, two-time three-gun national champion, open division, which is where the real shooters come to play. Lucas Oil shotgun champion, pure gold shotgun champion, four-time three-gun nation regional champion, two-time Nordic Vortex tri-gun champion, two-time Jeff Kirkworld Memorial three-gun champion, Area 3 PCC champion, Lucas Oil PCC. Not a champion, but I mean, it was still better than anything that I could ever pull off. USPSA PCC Nationals, Red October Kalashnikov champion, hard as hell multi-gun champion, and top 5 beard guy of the internet, Josh Froelich.
Boom! There he is, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, fellas?
Josh, how are you today?
I'm good. I like talking guns, talking shooting, hanging out with cool people. So looking forward to the conversation today.
Well, I like guns. I try to be cool.
We probably got 2 of those 3 nailed down. I don't know if the cool people, but
I've said it before when we were in the lobby before this started. But once again, thank you so much for doing this for me. This is amazing for both of us, all of us.
Yeah, sweet. I'm happy. Let's go. Let's do it.
I'm just gonna start off. I'm just gonna get the fanboyism out of the way. Josh, I first seen you in action. It was my very first competition. It was, I think it would have been 4 years ago today. Thunder on the Tundra, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I knew nothing. I just knew I liked to shoot, and so I was watching. I think it was like Clay's videos on competition shooting, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "I can do that." I go to the range all the time. I would smoke these people, And so I sign up. I'm easily getting humbled, just by. I don't want to sound like a schmuck when I say this, but just the average shooters, the everyday guys out there shooting.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, I need to step it up a little bit. And we go to this stage where you have to start off in a car. And then I can't remember his name, but he was in the hotel with me and he could tell I was there for the event and I was nervous. So he's kind of talking to me every morning, and he's like, "Oh, hey man, did you do this yet?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Well, Josh is up next." I was like, "Good for Josh." I was like, what's that mean? He's like, "Oh, you don't know who Josh is?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Watch this." And I saw you run that stage. And I'm just, spitballing here on times. If I did it in a minute and 28 seconds, I think you cleared it in 28 seconds. And I was just watching you in awe, like, oh my goodness. I was like, this is I didn't know anything about professional shooters. I was just, an average guy. And I was like, wow. I was like, I need to step it up. He's moving. Let me see. I think Paul pulled it up here because this is
the stage.
Oh yeah. I don't want to play the music because I don't know if they're gonna be mad at me. But first off, I love that Galil. But just look at you were moving faster than I moved on any stage that weekend, and it was amazing.
I love that racing non-typical race guns, right? Like, I used to race in Arsenal AK, and then I moved over to the Galil, and like they're just fun. I think it's a good time to just put the AR away for a minute, get out with the AKs, and you know, and just go and race. So I have a good time with it.
Oh, everybody I see, like you, our buddy Neil, the combat accountant, and the Sully runs around with Galils, and
Yep.
I have just like I got a little mini Galil over here. You know, I had to put it up because Josh was here. But I love that thing, and if I get myself a full size one, I know that's what I'd be using in competition because I get a lot of people don't they like when I use AK people, but I feel like the Galil's just an AK that goes to the gym regularly.
Just a little better, just a little bit more fit.
He's got a little tone to him. He's little refined.
Yeah.
But speaking of your Galil, there's a question I have to ask you because I see it in videos all the time. Now you have the Vortex Huey on that, right? And I just bought one of them where my hands are on this M23 here. But then you have the offset.
Yep.
And I'm always curious, like, what's the thought process on that? Because it's not like you're running a magnified and a non-magnified. They're both. But like, I'm just curious on why you do it like that.
Yeah. So good question. A lot of people are curious. And so they're both zeroed at 50 yards. They have the same zero. So like get that out of the some guys are like, oh, I'm sure the offset dot's like a 10-yard zero. And the rest of it is, like whatever, 150, whatever it is. They're both 50-yard zero. They're the exact same. But what I like about the Huey is I set that thing up for precision shots. I'll turn it down. And it's got a 1 MOA center dot. And so I can shoot really nice, precise stuff far away. And then if I have really bright sunlight, when I roll the gun, I can have that offset dot on brighter. So I can shoot stuff that's up close real fast and not, try to search for the dot. So that's like the primary reason I run it. And then I've got redundancy as well. So for me, having, 2 optics on the thing, just in case I smash one of them or who knows what, that adds a bunch of value for me too.
Okay. Now see, that makes sense. Now I get it. At first I was like, maybe the guy just likes the options. He likes to be able to choose.
I like that too. I do like cool gear. So it's like, wow, if one's good.
Yeah, variety is a spice of life, Yeah. But yeah, that totally makes sense now. I didn't even think of it like that.
Yeah.
What I also really like options. However, sometimes too many options gets in the way. And I would definitely declare that I have restless gun syndrome, where I'll shoot a match and then I take the rifle home and then I just tear it apart and then rebuild it. One thing that I've noticed in watching your videos is you've been very consistent over the years on, hey, this is how I have my rifle set up.
Yeah.
Did it take you a long time to find that, hey, I like this way and I like this way and it's performed for me, so I'm just going to stick with it? And then maybe you try something else when it's apt, or do you also suffer from a little bit of restless gun syndrome where you're just tweaking things a little bit all the time?
On my race guns, I typically set it and leave it alone and just train. And then on all my other guns, I'm always moving stuff around. Like all the stuff that's just fun and casual, I'm always playing with. But like the race gun stuff, I don't want to think at all when I'm on the clock. Like I just want to pick that gun up and it feels like home, right? Stock's in the same spot. It's the same stock, same optics, all of those things. And so, early on, I set guns up in a very specific way and I stuck with that for the most part. This last, call it 18 months, it's changed a little bit. I've had really cool opportunities to work with a bunch of law enforcement and military groups on training. And so when I go there, I run shorties because they're all running 10.5, 11.5 with suppressors on them. And so like I've been shortening all my guns way up just because that's what I'm shooting a lot with these guys anyway. And that's created a little bit of a change. But more than anything, I find something that works for a specific application and I just leave it that way. I was running PRS stocks on my 3-gun rifles like 6 years after they retired the PRS stock. Like I'd just go on the internet and find a bunch of used ones that I never ran out because I wanted the same damn stock on all the guns. And so, I'm a sucker for keeping things the same on my race guns.
That's good information there because I suffer from restless gun syndrome and also I'm easily sold to. If a company's like, check this out, I'm like, I need that. I fall with the myth of if I buy that, I might get a little bit better. Training has nothing to do with it. That new optic is going to make me hit that target at 200 yards. You know?
For sure.
Yeah. And I'm severely getting over that. Like I've dedicated myself to like, I'm a fan of like EOTechs and this Hollow Sun, but this Huey, never had one. I just always thought it was weird.
Yep.
And then after watching some of your videos again, and I was like, you know, I'm going to try that. And I put it on this 23 like a week ago, and I was like, I actually really like this thing. This is amazing. And I got a sweet deal on it. So I had to buy it, you know.
Nice.
But I mean, I'm narrowing it down. I always like on my YouTube videos, I give people the advice, don't mess with your guns before competition, you know, zero it, set it down, wait to leave. And then I have too much to choose from. And so I'm like, well, maybe I'll take that one this week and not the one I've been practicing with. And then I, you know, shoot subpar. And I'm like, yeah, you should have just took the one you were practicing with. Don't be an idiot. So I'm getting better. I'm getting much better at that.
Yep. Yeah. If you can separate like stuff you really care about and like shooting for fun, like, because there's different things. Like I might go to a local match here this weekend. I know I'm going to a local match this weekend, and I can try stuff there. Because if I crash and burn, or if the gear doesn't do what it was supposed to do, who cares? Because I paid $20 and it's just a bunch of my buddies. But if I fly somewhere or drive, you know, all day, stay at a hotel, you know, I'm $2,000 in on the weekend. It's like, I want to make sure that whatever I brought there is like perfect. I'm not going to have any issues. It's what I trained with. That way, you know, like I feel like it was time well spent, or money well spent when I go somewhere.
I'm taking that to heart, honestly, now. Because now I'm okay. I have my race guns, and I'll have, because me and Paul, we every now and then there's a range bias that, like you said, does weekend, you know, just little matches, practice as I call them, you know, for like the bigger stuff. So that would be a good time just to, I'm going to use this because it's fun. You know, nobody cares if I don't place here. I mean, I'm not taking home any hardware at any other competition, but that's, damn it, I'm going to do that. I'm dedicated now.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, and give yourself that opportunity. Like we're all cool gun guys. So like, I want cool guns. I want to play with different stuff. And so like, you know, whatever, if I feel like breaking out a little tiny shorty SBR for some local club match, it's like, who cares? Go do it. It's fun. Like, I love it. But yeah, when it comes right down to it, if I'm traveling, if, you know, if it's a bigger match, I'm running what I know is going to work.
Oh yeah. Speaking of bigger matches, I'm sorry, Paul, I'm just enthralled here. I saw you. Well, I didn't make it to Clash Bash this year. I was there last year.
Okay.
I saw that you did fantastic this year. And then like the following week, you were at the Texas 3-Gun Championships.
Yep.
So were you in Texas for like 3 weeks, a month almost this year?
Was going to be. Actually, I kept it short though. So I flew down to Clash Bash. We didn't have a huge like media job to do there. And so I just flew down there, flew back Monday, hung out with the family. And then like Tuesday, I took our media trailer down for Texas because we had a big media job to do at the match. And so basically like, if we have a huge job to do, like that's a big part of what I do when I travel is we produce content. And so if I have a really big job and I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys with producing content while we're at the event, then I'll run a big trailer down there. And, you know, that's our office for the week. If like Clash Bash, I think we had like 8 videos to do. So small job, I just fly down there with one guy and we get everything done. So it was 2 short trips instead of 1 long one.
I know about the long one because the last year was my first Clash Bash, and it was a 19 hour drive from where I'm at, and I think I slept a total of 45 minutes on the way there just because I was so excited. And then the way back I didn't sleep at all because I just wanted to go home, and that was rough. But I mean, what an event. Clash Bash is huge if you're an AK guy specifically. But like I said, I saw you did great there. I saw you did great at the 3-Gun. I mean, like Paul was reading off your accomplishments. You do fantastic. And I hate to keep cutting Paul off because he's usually the one to asking all the awesome questions. But I had to do some serious research on you because you're a serious guest here. And Paul, I'm going to bring this up. You might know where I'm going. 2014, I read you did your first IDPA match.
Yep.
And then in 4 years, you're sweeping the floor and taking home, you know, some decent accomplishments.
Yep.
In 4 years, like, what did you do to do that? Like, I mean, obviously you were training, but like, you were just hardly dedicated, or
Yeah, I'm a junkie, dude. So like before I got my head on straight, I was like a literal junkie, like way back when, like 20 years ago. Like I can't help it. Anything that like makes me feel good, like I'm so laser focused that like that's all I do. That's all I think
Yeah.
about. That's all I work on. And from 2014 to like 2020, shooting was that thing for sure. It still is, but I've moved a bit of it over to the business side. But so from like 14 to 15, 16, like I spent like 30, 35 grand in ammo like those years. Like I learned how to shoot, like I shot matches every week, 50 plus a year with locals and stuff. And I just like one singular goal, like, I've never had a hobby that I, didn't turn into something revenue producing. Like I fought in college and like that was the way like I got sponsors for that. So like I knew I could do something here. I didn't know what that meant, but like I knew I wanted to like pay for the hobby with something in the hobby.
Right.
And so I'm like, all right, I just need to get good enough and figure that out and shoot every opportunity I had, plus dry fire like crazy and all, like just consuming. And yeah, spent 4 years shooting 200 matches, something like that.
Wow.
And yeah, dry fire every day, train all the time to get good. And from there, it's been just adding a little polish. It's more up here at this point. Like my body knows how to shoot well. Like that's not an issue. Now it's just managing stress. Managing pressure. Like when it actually matters. Last stage of the match. Like you got to crush it or you don't win the match. It's like how do you hold it together? That kind of stuff is more the focus at this point than like I need to learn to shoot faster splits. Like I'm not worried about that. Like you just shoot. So.
Where do you find that mental toughness from? Is that also something that you can train just like, faster splits that are out there? Or is that something that has come more so with time?
Yeah. Well, so you can certainly train it. Having good buddies that you do shooting training with and like doing some healthy competition with each other while you're doing whatever it is you're doing. You got 4 target array that you're shooting at. And I don't care if it's pop cans in the junkyard. Like, it's like, all right, I'm going to shoot that faster than you are. Right. So like, let's go. And you go head to head. And every time that, your pride, your ego is on the line as it relates to shooting, you're dealing with some of that pressure. Right. And so I try to put myself in that scenario like daily, like constantly, to the point where it's like, yeah, there's pressure. There's always pressure. Who cares? I just have to shoot well. That piece got me probably 90% of the way there. And the other percentage, like when stress bubbles up, like, for me, it's, I lean on faith, like in gratitude. I'm like, I'm so grateful to have an opportunity to be standing here with my guns, doing what I love.
Oh yeah.
I just got to execute, like I'm just got to do, what I was built to do. Like, I just say, thank you. Like, I'm like, thank you for the opportunity to be here. It sort of takes a bunch of stress away, right? When you're just grateful for your circumstance. And it's like, I don't care who you are, what you're dealing with, whatever. Like if we get to go out on a Saturday or a Sunday and we're hammering down with a bunch of cool people shooting in the competition, like we got it pretty good. And so, just reminding myself, how blessed I am to be in that spot sort of just takes the edge off too, right before I'm ready to shoot. So that's my make ready. I'll figure out my stage plan. I'll pause for a second, give a good thank you. Like, thank you so much for this opportunity I have to do what I love. And then I just crush. And like that's worked out pretty well.
That's a good soundbite. I just crush. That's what I do.
That is the next step. Yeah.
In competing with people, one area that I've found is, even if somebody might not know it, I'll look to somebody and say, okay, this is my benchmark or kind of the rabbit that I'm chasing, whether it's at a match or like when I was playing a lot of sports, especially kind of like individualized sports. Hey, that's a guy where if I meet him in a tournament, I'm going to kind of benchmark myself about how I'm doing, kind of looking in comparison to either him, or if I'm going up against him, that's somebody that I need to beat in order to kind of see maybe a fulfillment of like, okay, now I am at a certain level. Did you ever have like, I call it a nemesis, but in those kind of 4 years that you had from 2014 to 2018 leading up to the World Championship, did you ever have somebody that kind of acted as like a nemesis for you, where it's like, hey, if I know that I'm in so far around that guy, I'm kind of achieving my goals, and the training that I'm doing is paying off?
Yeah, for sure. I still do today. So like I've always, there's always a handful of dudes at a national level. For me, getting ready for like Shotgun Worlds, me and Scott Green. So Scott's a total stud multi-gunner. He's the current World Shotgun Championship champion. I won it in 2018, then didn't go this last time, and then Scott won it this time. And so we were going head to head at like 4 or 5 shotgun matches, Lucas Oil Shotgun Series, bunch of stuff like that before that world shoot for like that last year. And that was always a standard. It's just like as long as I get Scott, like I know that I'll beat anybody else on the planet because Scott's a monster. And so it's like, okay, sweet. So like that was the standard then for sure. When I was new, I got this guy in Minnesota who's like a top 10 in the nation, like pistol caliber carbine shooter, GM pistol shooter, Andre DeSantel. He works at JP. And he was the guy that when I was at my first match, when I was like, hey, I'm going to go out there and crush these dudes. And then I realized I wasn't. And then I watched him shoot and he destroyed the stage. And I was like, whoa, what's this Jersey dude doing? I was like, wow. Like, I didn't know you could do that. And so I saw him. So like that first couple of years, it was like, all right, if I'm within 10% of Andre, like, okay, that was a good match. Or if I'm like within 5% of Andre, or if I beat Andre, like that means that like I've got this figured. So there's always something like that where I'm like, all right, how do I measure success at this event? And if I don't know any of the names, then it's like, well, how much do I have to win by to feel like I shot a good match? And that's not as good of a standard necessarily, but like I still play games like that in my head with, all right, I gotta win this thing by 10%, like, or whatever. Yeah.
I always give myself the do better than you did at the competition last year. That's what I always benchmark myself for.
Yeah.
But speaking of chasing people and setting a benchmark, like Paul was saying, me and Paul and a few other friends, we have we're not professionals by any means. Okay. We're just out there trying as our best. And so we came up with our own little shooting team of like misfit shooters, right?
Okay.
We have a few small people that help us out. But so it's basically like we're a row of ducks. Like, okay, if I can do as good as Paul, or if I can do as good as Tommy, I'll be better. And if Tommy can do as good as Paul, he's going to be better. So as long as we're constantly like staying in this group, going to different competitions, we all just kind of chase each other and kind of try to, eventually we're all going to get a little bit better because we're constantly in competition with each other as much as we say we're best friends. But in the back of my head, I'm like, I hope he just misses this target. Just eats. I hope this takes him about 8 seconds.
Yes, I understand completely.
Yeah.
So I caught myself last year doing this a little bit where I'm like, I'll be looking at somebody, especially somebody on the squad, where I can tell like, hey, we're somewhat close. And I caught myself a couple of times where I'm like, man, it'd be great if he just got like a stuck case right now. Like, because also then in my mind, it's like, then I don't have to lock in for the entire rest of the day in order to achieve what I want. And to me, that's like the wrong mindset that I want to have. Like, I want to beat somebody who's having their best day and like no malfunctions. They're going out there, they're crushing it, but then I just crush it that much harder. I feel like that is more in line with like the competition that I want to perceive and be a part of. Not like, hey, I beat you on a technicality because you stepped outside of a procedure foot fault. But it's like on your best day, I was still able to perform. And the last little local one that we went out to was not my best day, and it definitely showed. But
I know what stage he's talking about because I definitely did better than him on that one stage. And that never happens.
Yeah. Well, I know it feels better for sure when they shoot their best day, you shoot your best day, you still win. Like for sure, that's the most fulfilling. But a win's a win.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
If that happens, it's like, well, that sucks, but I'm glad I won. Like
Practice score don't well, practice score is not always accurate, but it doesn't lie as long as I'm on top,
right? Yeah.
No,
So,
them are accurate scores, dude. I don't care how many times you got the little edit number next to you. That's how it's laid out. I'm on top.
They don't ask how, they ask how many.
yeah. W is a W. Yep.
That's funny.
One
Go ahead, Paul.
Well, so I grew up, I would say that I started kind of shooting a lot more shotgun sports, but not like the action shotgun sports that are out there. Kind of your more traditional trap, skeet, 5-stand sporting clays.
Yep.
And I think from at least what I've seen, the 3-gun series of competitions started off as like the gold standard of some like more national level competitions that are out there, probably around like the 2010 when I started to really delve into shooting YouTube. And I feel like there's been, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Josh, but there's been a shift away from the shotgun to now 2-gun is like the most common multi-gun performance shooting that's out there.
Yeah.
Is that an accurate kind of perception where, hey, 3-gun, because the shotgun, people didn't necessarily want to put in the time and effort that's needed in order to get good with a shotgun. So they just removed it. Now let's go to 2-gun. Or, hey, 3-gun's still out there and it is still kind of the Formula One when it comes to performance shooting sports, but it doesn't get the views on the gram like maybe it used to.
Yeah. The answer is probably somewhere in between. I just think about the cost associated with bringing $10,000 worth of guns and all the gear you need to go and shoot a big 3-gun match is a thing. The other thing that you got to think about as it relates.
What'd you do, Paul?
I didn't do anything, but I'm thinking about it.
Oh, he's got a red bar. Way to go, Paul.
This is, they want to keep us down. That's all that this is.
This is the man. The 3-gun doesn't want Josh to let everybody know what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Hopefully he jumps back in.
This is big 3-gun getting in the way of small 2-gun.
Oh, no. Well, if you haven't subscribed yet.
Hey, you know what? We'll do our ad plug. We'll do our ad plugs right now.
I'm waiting for him to jump back in. It says he's on a red bar right now, and me and you are good. So I can't take the blame for this. I don't know.
Hey, make sure that you're subscribed, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts from.
Shooter, Are You Ready podcast.
Shooter, Are You Ready podcast. We're active on Instagram as well for what's out there. We appreciate everybody that kind of comes through.
I wonder if he's like still talking and wondering why we're talking over him.
I hope not.
Oh, man. He'll be back. He'll be back.
We've got weather going on in the area.
Yeah,
there's
always weather. It's the Midwest. There's always weather. And if you plan on shooting, be a friend, be a homie, tell a friend, tell a ammo, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and use code SAVAGE25.
Or don't.
Or don't. It's not going to do anything for you.
It will not save you on shipping when you're buying from teleimpex.com. Do not go there. Do not buy 1,000 rounds of 7.62x39 ammo. Some of the best imported 7.62-39 that you can find currently on the market. Do not put in SAVAGE25 at checkout. Do not use that code. Do not.
Just got to update for Josh. I think that there really is weather. He said the power went out back in a second. He said maybe he's waiting on his generator.
That would be impressive. A backup generator is definitely the move, especially if you're out there. We are in the Midwest, obviously. Got a lot of hail this Easter weekend.
Yeah, I've seen that.
All across
He's
Iowa,
further up north.
Minnesota.
It's always cold up there.
It is.
Josh joined the session.
Here we go.
All right.
Power's back.
Power's back. Sorry.
Right, cool. No, you're fine, man. As a man who knows about power outages, believe me, I know. I work for the power company. I was just telling Paul I got off work yesterday at 2:30 p.m. and my phone started ringing at like 5:15 to go back to work. And then I was there till 5 this morning, and then I got about 4 hours of sleep until I woke up to do this.
Got it.
So it's a living.
Okay.
3-gun.
Got it. So the other thing on 3-gun is, so if it takes 90 seconds to shoot a stage, it takes 5 minutes to set the stage back up. It takes 3 minutes to get guns staged around it. You get a new shooter shooting every like 12 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And so if you got a 12-person squad, it's 2 hours to shoot a stage.
Jeez.
Right? And so now you're talking about a Saturday. You want to go shoot 5 stages, 10-hour day. Oh, by the way, you got to set it up in the morning. You got to tear it down at the end of the day. And so it's one of those things where it's like you get to shoot for, not very much time, and you're there for 14 hours on a Saturday, burning up the whole day for the local stuff. And so like I'll go do that. I think it's cool, but like not everybody has that commitment level, and then on the flip side, you go back to the one gun stuff and it's like you shoot every 30 minutes instead of every 2 hours, and you shoot those same 5 stages and you're out in a half a day. And the 2 gun thing's right in the middle where it's like, okay, maybe you shoot every 45 minutes when you're out on there. It takes, 6 hours to shoot a match, and it's easy from that perspective. And then everybody's got an AR and a pistol, like it's usually the shotgun where guys are like, oh, I need something specific for competition because I don't own that unless you're a competitive shooter, where most of us have an AR, most of us have a pistol. And so it's easier for folks to come out and try 2 gun. And when they're there, they're not standing around for an hour and a half, 2 hours after they shot, getting bored. So I think that's what's really set it apart is, you can get in there, you shoot fast, you move fast, you reset fast, and you shoot a lot, and you're not there for 14-hour days to shoot a match.
Match flow is one of those hidden arts, especially when you have a match that just like flows stage to stage super well, where it's almost like, hey, all the squads are moving at the same time. And I think that's a great point that I really wasn't considering about the reset that was associated with 3 gun, especially because you're not going to, this isn't Red Dead Redemption. As much as I'd love for it to be a video game, you're not going to have a shotgun on your back, a rifle up front, and then a pistol on your hip. And then it's like, all right, done with the rifle, sling that behind you, pull the shotgun out. You are going to have to stage them around. That's just fascinating. That's because I would really, really enjoy shooting more 3 gun, but you're absolutely right. It does turn into a full day. And that full day can also be only a couple of stages. I mean, it's not like you're going to shoot 10, 12 stages in a day, like you might at someplace at something like USPSA.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's cool. It's its own thing. I just see that the barrier of entry is higher, and 2 gun's pretty damn cool, man. And so it's like guys are going, if there's a local match, 2 gun match every month, I'm not going to get in the shotgun. I'm just going to shoot this 2 gun thing. And so I think 3 gun, it won't go away. There's 500 to 1,000 diehards around the country that want to play that game. They want to shoot the shotgun. And then I think 2 gun's only going to grow.
Nice. Speaking of stage reset and things, just like the difference between 3 gun and 2 gun, I try to, every time I go to a stage where there's cardboard at every stage, I try to be the leader here and implement a rule of pick yourself like 3 or 4 targets, and those are your targets to go paste. Instead of everybody walking around playing musical chairs. Did you get that one? Did you get that one? Is that one okay? Like, no, you pick your set targets, go out there, paste, get back. That way it just keeps everything a little more, a good flow instead of everybody, oh, this one's done. I don't got to do this one. Oh, no, you didn't get that? Let me get that. And it's, like Paul said, a nice flow is nice. I like a good flow. Like, there's a competition I'm going to in a month in Missouri, Kalashnikon.
Yep.
And that's like, me and Paul went in January for the winter edition of that, and it was all steel. There's no resets. And I mean, it just moved. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it. And now I'm like, every time I see cardboard, I get disgusted. I'm like, ugh, really? You guys couldn't afford steel?
Funny. Yeah. That is funny. The only gotcha on setting your own targets is you better make sure somebody else gets them when you're on deck.
Yeah,
I've done the same thing. I've like 3 or 4 targets are mine, the whole squad, and then I'm on deck and I got to shoot the thing twice because nobody reset the targets I was setting the rest. So I'm like, oh man. So like, if you do that, just tell your buddies when you're on deck, like, hey,
Yeah, right.
who got those ones? Because I'm not doing it this time. Yeah.
Well, I think that everybody's curious after your introduction. As the babyface Nelson of the trio today, what are we putting in the beard these days, Josh? It can't only be beaver oil.
No, a little bit of that. Lots of gunpowder, carbon. I shoot suppressed a lot, so it sort of just holds it all in one place.
There you go. It looks fantastic. I made sure I put on a nice balm today to look decent.
Shooting suppressed so much. One of the things that's going around online right now is special in shooting communities is getting your lead levels checked.
Yeah.
Is that something for, let's say, your average guy who's out there putting a couple hundred rounds maybe every couple of months, and if it's all suppressed, that they should be concerned about? And I know you're not a doctor. I only play one on TV, so I'm not asking for your medical opinion, but is that something that you're at all worried about? Is, hey, every 6 months I got to get a physical, get my lead levels checked because of the suppressor? Or is that just something that, hey, you've been shooting for so long, it's something that you're kind of always got to be concerned about if you're putting a lot of rounds down range?
Yeah, I'd say your casual user, just wash your hands when you're done shooting. You're fine. Don't even worry about it. The moment you start to train on a regular basis, it does matter. Like I've had mine so high when I wasn't paying attention to it early on that like they wanted to put me on chelation therapy, which is like heavy metal removal dialysis.
Jeez.
I was like, whoa. They're like, well, you got to stop shooting. I'm like, well, that's not going to happen.
Damn.
And so but at that point I was shooting indoors. Over the winter, shooting shotgun, which is exposed lead, and like all the worst things, eating sandwiches on the range with lead all over my hands, like all of the things that you could do wrong, I did wrong, and that put me in like wildly high numbers. But the moment I sort of just stopped eating stuff with my bare hands on the range, always had capped drinks in indoor ranges, like never had a can that was sitting open, getting lead dust and stuff in it. Just in general, tried to minimize my exposure, even like picking up steel targets that get knocked over with shotgun, like that stuff's got lead dust on it. Like just trying to avoid that. I can keep mine pretty low, even with shooting suppressed like almost every day. So I think more than anything, it's something to get checked on at least annually. But, if you're managing the, like what goes into your mouth, like with food and hands, like that's the big one that I worried most about. It dropped my levels drastically when I took care of that.
That's good.
Nice.
I've always worried about that because people talk about it a lot. And I'm like, I don't think I shoot enough to worry about it. But then like I was discussing with Paul and we discussed with Clay, Clayco, like sometimes I have to remember, like I just told Paul that we're like the 1 to 2% of people who shoot like, a lot.
Yeah.
And I always forget that. And I'm like, well, I do shoot, like Paul was saying, more than the guy who buys a case a year.
Yeah.
So maybe it is something I need to worry about checking. Because if I have time and I'm not doing anything that day, I drive to the range. I'm like, I should be training on something. I have a competition next month. I got, zero this or do something. But I don't think I eat my sandwich with lead hands. So I think maybe I'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, get lead soap. I got lead soap. I got lead wipes. All of those things. I don't clean my guns without like gloves on.
Yeah,
like some of those things. There's a bunch of simple ways to like get rid of the physical lead exposure. I shoot well over 100,000 rounds a year. I'm fine. My lead numbers are fine as long as I minimize those things. Those physical. I'm getting lead on my hands and it's getting in my food and drink and stuff like that.
Okay.
I would just like to pause quick. We do have the Hoagie Hero, who we are friends with, who likes to crush a Chicago-sized grinder in the middle of matches. Hey, it's not us just saying it anymore. You should probably be washing your hands before you're eating that. And then one of our other buddies, Tommy, likes to bring a full charcuterie board out there. We should probably have some lead wipes. I cannot do it. Lead wipes. That was harder than it should have been. Before we dig into the cured meats and cheeses that he's bringing around.
Highly recommend.
Yeah.
Speaking of food, I listened to one of your podcasts a while ago about necessarily, but not, I guess we'll call it competition diet. Like if you know there's something big coming up, like me, let's say last year, Paul and I and our buddy Jeff drove to Michigan for an event. And I was on a diet that year. I dropped like 20 something pounds. I was feeling good about myself. And the night before, there was nothing in that small town to eat except a pizza. And so we ate pizza, and I felt like ass the next day. Like when you go from eating like nothing but like chicken and, you know, eggs and ground turkey and vegetables to, oh, I haven't had pizza in months. This will be fine. And then I just, So like, how big is like right now you're in the, you know, it's the prime competition season kicking off. So like, do you totally change everything that you're taking in? And because I heard you talk about carbs and all that stuff before.
Yeah. I've adjusted a little bit as I've gotten older. I can't get away with like all the processed food that I was even then. Before I was like super heavy oatmeals, eggs, meats.
Yeah.
Now I'm more on like heavy meats, like whatever, big steak, you know, whatever, even you know, a handful of burgers without the bun with some fruit, like, but more than anything, it's just don't change it that weekend. Even if you eat shit all the time, just eat shit that weekend, right? Because you're gonna screw yourself up because your body's used to performing on it.
Yeah.
So like, you know, for me, I'm trying to be lean. I'm trying to work hard so I can move fast. I'm trying to do all that stuff. So like, I eat really clean all the time, so I cannot afford to not eat clean on match weekend. Or like you say, I'm gonna feel terrible.
Yeah.
But to the dude that eats pizza every day, if he goes there and he eats, you know, a banana and, you know, some chicken breast, he's probably going to feel terrible too, because his body's going to be like, what was that? You know, that's not good. I think consistency is the key. You know, like if you're working toward a target and that target includes eating really healthy, just carry through on the match weekend. You know, I think all the way down to like hydration and you know, like if you're an energy drink guy, like I'll drink an energy drink. Like I'm going to make sure that I am consistent through the weekend with whatever I'm doing when I'm not at the match. Nothing new, nothing surprise. Like I just want my body to do what it's supposed to do every day. You know, nothing special anymore. Where I used to do some carb loading, do some stuff like that. It's like, I think more than anything, it's just do what I do every day so my body does what it does every day, and I'll shoot at a high level.
Makes sense.
I have to say I'm a little heartbroken that my spinach salad that I eat once a year before a match is not going to save me that morning. But I think I already knew that. I just needed somebody to tell me.
That's
one thing that I did appreciate you brought up on a previous podcast is you called out the 140-pound little guys that are running around there. I too am anti-victim weight. I despise them. My family was bred in the fields of East Germany to be hooked up to the plows when the horses were sick. So you know, I just appreciated hearing somebody call them out where it's like, yeah, they're these tiny guys. You don't have to work so much for it. You know, I think everybody on here, we're all 6 foot and above. You know, just hearing somebody else call them out for it, where it's like, hey, you don't have to work for this. They probably do. I'm just being mean. But I thought I liked your take on that, where it's, hey, you have to be more cognizant of like the way that you train in movement and how you kind of move your weight around comparatively to maybe somebody who doesn't have as much mass to throw around the range.
Yeah. I'm about as lean as I get right now, and I'm still 6'1", 230. Like, you know, when I'm heavier, I'm in the 250s, and I don't move as well. And, you know, like if I'm in the 225, 230 range, like I can keep up with pretty much any of the little dudes because I'm working on explosive movements and some of that kind of stuff, getting in and out of position well with the gun up, all of that. But yeah, for sure, 20 pounds, you know, you add another 20 pounds on top, and it's like I'm not moving quite as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's not happening.
And I've seen that you've been shooting a lot of armored.
Yeah.
Not recently, but definitely on there. But if you can take 20 pounds off you, then you can put 20 pounds on in terms of plates. And it's kind of not an even trade, but it's like, hey, it's less maybe that I have to move around because I'm just going to put that back on right away.
Right.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, the muscles in my legs are used to moving that extra weight. If I give them a month off by losing some poundage and then throw a plate carry on, who cares? like I could still move. So for sure. And it's fun. Like we all have plate carriers and bump helmets for, like I run nods and do a bunch of stuff like that. And so I've got all that gear and I do train in it, but it's fun when a match recognizes that as like a class or, division or whatever. Cause it's like, okay, yeah, I train in it, but can I actually race in it? Like, can I really shoot well wearing this gear? And like if you're not used to doing it, it's really tough. If you are used to doing it, it's no big deal. And like I have that gear in case I need it. I want to be able to shoot just as well with it on as without. So any match that offers that, I pretty much shoot armored.
Nice.
When you were fighting wrestling, did you ever do any of the crazy cuts? Sitting with the trash bag on in the boiler room with on the wind bike kind of going.
Yes.
What was the craziest one or was there one where you were like, I need to lose 10 pounds? This is the one that I'm going to go do.
I always lost weight. So I walk around, even back then in college, I walked around like 207, 210, somewhere in that ballpark. And I fought at 185. So like I would get down to like 197 with diet. And then I'd cut 10 pounds of water. And so they were always brutal. I know a lot of guys cut way more than that. I don't know how they do it. Like I felt like I was going to die. Like I hated it. That was like my least favorite part. But yeah, I'd usually cut about 10 pounds of water.
That's wild. Speaking of, like I said, I did a lot of research and I noticed that I may be wrong here. This is just what the internet told me because the internet's been known to be wrong. Your last fight, it said you knocked a guy out in 30 seconds. First round. And I thought that was impressive. I was like, that's like Frank Duke's category. It
was probably 45 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I was arguing with the wife about it. I was like, I knocked a guy out in 30 seconds. And she's like, 30 seconds is a long time. And I was like, have you ever knocked somebody out in 30 seconds? Because I haven't. I was like, that's impressive.
I loved it. I loved fighting. I was never like UFC quality. Like, I just wasn't, and it wasn't going there. But like, put me at a civic center with some other dude that trains a little, like I could put him to sleep. Like that was fun. And so like, that's about as far as I took it. But yeah, the last one, we were just in the clinch and I'd give him an uppercut. He'd drop. I'd take a step back and get up, get him in the clinch, give him an uppercut. He'd drop. And he just didn't want to get back up. So it was fun. I love to just throw down. I enjoy it still.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Josh likes to walk around and hit people in the face. Okay.
It's pretty much fun. It's pretty fun.
Oh, enough about you, Josh. Let's talk about you. Okay. Let's talk about F5 range because I'm sorry if I annoyed you. I know I've sent you a lot of messages asking about classes, but I was so upset with work last year because you had the racing with AKs class at your range around July. And I was like, I'm going to this. And then like it was around 4th of July weekend. And they're like, you can't have that weekend off. It's a holiday weekend. It goes by seniority. You're at the bottom of the list. I was like, Josh is throwing a class. I was like, I got to go. And they're like, no. And so I was like, damn it. And then like, it wasn't until a week before somebody canceled their vacation. And they're like, okay, Martin, you still want that off? I'm like, well, no. I was like, I got a week to like plan it now. I was like, I ain't got time to go. And so I was a little upset. But I plan on making it there to do something with you.
Okay.
Because I think it looks like an awesome facility. Didn't Moishe say he's been up there, Paul?
Yep.
I believe so. I've got one of your sites up right now. Looks like a phenomenal training facility. I mean, this is we'll give you the I guess who should be coming. Who are you looking to train? What are some of the events that you've got coming up here? Let the people know.
Cool. Well, we like helping guys that already shoot a lot get way better. That's what I like doing. I don't have a passion for getting brand new shooters into shooting. Like we do it. I have instructors that'll come and do that. But like I enjoy working with folks that already shoot a lot and helping them like really get good. And so I personally instruct here a class called Modern Carbine, along with my buddy Cody Leeper. Cody is one of the strongest long range shooters in all 3-gun. He's a total boss. And so I take all the close, fast stuff. He takes all the long range stuff. And we've got that class coming up in May. And that we call it modern carbine. We used to run an AR class and an AK class. It's the same damn thing. Like if you can, like any of the stuff we shoot with ARs, we can shoot with the AKs too. And so we just call it modern carbine. And Galil's, AKs, Scars, AR, whatever you want, bring it. You can shoot it here, and we'll help you dial that skill set in. So we do shooting on the move, unsupported offhand shooting, dynamic movements, long range out to 450, and yes, your AK will hit it. I promise. We will get you there. And then I instruct on the practical 2-gun as well, which is
Nice.
Whatever your modern carbine is, along with pistol mixed in. And so that's at the end of the May as well. So both of those are great. We love having folks out, and both of those are similar classes to what I'll teach in law enforcement and military space too. And so, I don't know tactics. I'm not a door kicker. We work on speed and accuracy, and we help guys hit things as fast as possible, right? Doesn't matter how far away it is. And that's what we do at F5.
Okay, let's get the range there. Is that something you developed all by yourself, or is that something like you hire a firm like Range Building Dynamics Incorporated comes some markers and stuff like I wanted this?
Yeah, well, it was a dream before we owned this property. I lived in another property, but I go to, again, I shot hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of matches. So I go to all these ranges all over the country.
Right.
But, for like 3 years, I'm like, I know I'm building a range. I'm going to find the things I like best about every range I go to. And I'm going to ask them nerdy questions that they probably won't know the answer to. And I'm going to come up with these ideas. And so like I picked, my favorite range floor that we run around on, berm height, berm dimensions, long range dimensions, your backstops, like all that stuff. I just found ranges that I thought did it right. And then I took note of what that was. And when we got the property, I could finally build out what I wanted to. I just took all those things and designed it myself. So pretty simple. And we've got like 2.5 bays. The half bay is like two sides. And then that you can also shoot from in that out into our long range. And so that gives us a ton of options to run small classes, not like big matches. That's not what we wanted to do anyway. We just want to run, 30, 40 people on our range. It's perfect.
Nice. Now, speaking of designing a range, okay, I belong to a gun range. It's the closest one to my house, which is, nice when you have something 15, 20 minutes away from your house, and it's pretty fuddy. Okay, in lack of better terms.
Yeah.
But I am very proud of myself and also kicking myself in the ass for this. I somehow worked my way onto the board. Okay, now I'm a board member, and I'm in charge of setting up. Like they okayed me to like set up like small like practical rifle courses to try to get new younger members in. Because I was like, look, this is what I do. I was like, like you guys need to do something like this. And they're like, well, we don't know about that. And I was like, it's not hard to do. I was like, I've been to ranges all over the country. I was like, I can design 3 or 4 little bitty stages for you guys.
Yeah.
And so now that's a feat I have to do. Now I'm in charge of this.
Nice.
And I'm kind of like, damn it. I just wanted a place to practice. And now I'm in charge of stuff. So it's a double-edged sword, but I'm kind of, it's a good step forward because it's like, they got a nice range, but it's all bench shooting. It's honestly just a bunch of older guys who've been members for 30 years here who love their 22s. And I'm like, I was like, don't get me wrong, sitting at a bench is fine for 5-10 minutes. I was like, but I got to move. I got to practice. I got things to do here. And it took about a year of me just harping at them to let this happen. But now in a couple months, I'm supposed to set up 4, intro stages to try to entice people to join this club and get some new members out there, and hopefully it works out. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's great. In scenarios like that, we try typically when I'm designing new shooter stages, I'll have very little front, like forward to back. I'll have a lot of side to side movements, right? and I'll typically start them on the left side and bring them to the right. So all your right-handed shooters don't break at 180. Keep it simple. Give them some stuff that's fun and fast to shoot close, and then maybe a couple things that are more difficult to hit a farther away. And, it'll be the wildest thing most of them have ever done.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's my plan. Like I said, I'm gonna do like 3 or 4 stages, and it's just gonna. My initial thought is, like you said, just start small. Like, here's a VTAC, shoot through these holes. There's a target, so far away, hit it. Okay, cool. That's the first stage. And the second stage, okay, now there's another position to move to. And then hopefully by the time it's the 4th stage, I'm like, all right, there's 15 paper targets, hit them all, have fun, just go nuts. But do it safely, obviously. But I mean, I'm hoping that this will at least entice, like I was telling Paul, 6 to 10 people that are like, this is fun. Like, okay, now come back next time I do this. Let's keep this going, and we can make it a little bit better every time. And if I can get my hands on 6 to 10 people,
the robots
continuously show up every. What robot?
No, you're good. You're good. You just paused for a second.
I did. Oh,
yeah,
it happens.
People are playing Call of Duty. It happens.
Yeah, tell me about it. But yeah, I don't know. The love for AKs. Okay, can we just discuss AKs for a second, because I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
And like I said, I give credit to Big Matt Murph. Years ago, he lived in Illinois. I don't know if I'm putting his personal business out there. Okay. But there was a little Facebook gun group, and everybody would, share memes and just, be goofy like a gun guy does. And then he was the AK guy. And I was just a lonely little, nothing guy with like 2 Glocks and an AR from Palmetto State. Like, I'm a gun guy now. Look at me go, And then he was always talking about AKs. And then I was like, man, maybe I should get one of those. And then I found this website that does raffles. And I was good at them. I was damn good at these raffles, Josh, let me tell you. And then one time there was a raffle for an AK, and I was like, why not? And I won it. And so this was years later. Matt moved away, and I just messaged him, hey, I won this AK. Is it any good? Because he always told me, buy a Wasser. If you're going to buy your first AK, buy a Wasser. And I was like, I won this Arsenal. I was like, is this good? And he's like, you won that? And I was like, yeah, it was $25. And he's like, dude, you just started like at the top. He's like, that's like the best thing you can get at the moment. I was like, oh, sweet. And then I shot it like, that weekend after I got it, and I've never looked back. It's a different, I don't know how to explain it. It's different than an AR to me. It just feels different. It feels like a real gun. Yeah. Okay. It's heavier, and it's a different feel, and I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I have less of a like, love for them, and more of like, I want to be able to pick up anything that's on the table, and I want to be able to shoot good with it. And what I found early on was I had a lot of AR experience, and I could do that. ARs were no problem. And I pick up some AKs, and I'm like, what? What's going on here? And like, I didn't shoot them all that well at first. And so I was like, okay, I'm obviously not as well-rounded as a shooter as I thought I was. And so like, I got an AK and was like, I wanted to get good at shooting it. And so I got it good at shooting it, and went out to like the first Red October match. I was like, there's an AK match. I was like, let's go. And so, I went to Vegas and shot AKs out there. And I was like, okay, this is cool. I do the same thing with any weird guns. Like, I got a Sten I got a PPS 43 we just got. And I'm like, I want to get good at shooting those. Like, why? I don't know. But like, I don't think I'm going to race those. But like, if there's a gun that I pick up and it feels a little foreign to me, I got to figure it out. And if there's a way to race it, I'll probably do that.
That makes me just want to run a small competition with my PS90 and just be like, yep, this is what I brought,
Yeah, for sure.
Has there ever been rifle pistol where you pick it up and you just go, hey, I understand what this is, but even just trying to race it, it's like, this has been so horribly designed that no matter how much time I put into it, it's just, the outcome is never going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, there are some of the old stuff more than I'm a machine gun nerd now. So like, we got our SOT and that's part of the business. So I got a bunch of like World War II stuff. That Sten is that for me. It's like, what the mags off the side. I'm like, what do we do here? And then like to put it in the case, like it folds down and the mag goes down. It's like, why didn't we just create it that way? Like, what are we doing? So yeah, some of those guns from the 40s they made for like $12, but like they were weapons of war. Like they're kind of weird. They're pretty tricky to shoot well, because the design was like, hey, fill mag, empty mag that way.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully one of the bullets hits what you're aiming at. So yeah, some of those are awful. I mean, they're fun. Like I'm glad we have them, but they're fun.
It really gets you to appreciate where we're at now.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, oh, this Palmetto State AR is probably like easier to hit stuff with than, like a BAR, especially on something like full auto.
Yep. Oh, for sure. I mean, the modern guns, reference like PSA, like those guns work. Like they're going to outshoot 95% of anyone who picks that thing up. Like the gun's capable. Like the modern market today, the guns are capable of doing whatever you want for the most part. Now, if you run 20, 30, 40,000 rounds, not everything's going to live up and, last to that level. Most things are going to wear out somewhere long before that, but they're easy to shoot. They do what they're supposed to do. They're ergonomic. They're designed well for sure.
That's the way I feel going from AKs to shooting an AR, like especially like a purpose-built, like raced out AR. It's just like, oh, this is so simple. Like it's just dot, target, trigger. And then it's like, all right, I'm on to the next one. And then coming from shooting like a 7.62 39 Wasser that's hucking steel like 3 days over, it's like if I put a couple thousand rounds through like an overgassed AK and then I go back to an AR, it's like, okay, I'm shooting a 22. This is so simplistic.
Yeah.
Like there's just nothing that's happening here other than like if I miss, 100% on me.
Yep.
Like there's no excuses.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think both is fun. Both is interesting for sure.
It's almost like two different sides of your, even though it's not true, but it's like two different sides of your brain where it's like this tickles one aspect where it's like not only am I trying to fight my way through the stage and get the best score that I can, but I'm also kind of battling the tool that I have in a way. And then it's like, okay, now how it's like the driving analogy where it's like, okay, I've got an old clapped out Honda Civic. How fast can I go around this parking lot? And then on the other side of it, it's like, okay, I have a purpose-built KTM, go-kart, essentially. Like they're both trying to accomplish the same goals, but you know what? That clapped out Honda Civic, you're going to learn some stuff, not only about that Honda Civic, but probably about yourself too, while you're trying to go around cones as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't call. I'm no longer necessarily in that boat. My Galil's pretty wild these days. Like my early AKs were that way for sure, but like my Galil's worked over by the Dissident boys, and like it does everything it's supposed to every time. So it's probably closer to that KTM than it is, the Honda Civic at this point.
I just remember seeing you at Thunder, and you were the only person that beat me on one stage. So I was like, I'm getting you next time, and then you haven't come back. But you and kind of the squad that you were shooting with left, and then there was another squad that came in behind you, and one of the guys was just like, I need that muzzle brake so I can shoot that fast. And I was like, that's not really part of it. Like there's a lot more that has gone into the score that you just witnessed than just like a fairly nice break.
That was probably me, Paul. I think I was in the squad after him. Honestly, I think that was the first time I met you, Paul.
But in kind of going back to what you referenced earlier about F5 and training, do you ever find some people that have been shooting quite a bit that come in and they say, "Oh, this is the piece of gear that I want," or like there's kind of an idea that they have in their head where if I can just get this, or if I can just achieve this, it's going to unlock all of my potential, and then I'm going to go to Worlds and I'm going to dominate everybody, and that is my crushing moment. And it's like, well, no, you're 360 pounds, and that next cheeseburger might be your last. Like, do you see some of that kind of in some of the training that some of the people that you see come through?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we do. And a lot of that is, it's like, all right, so like, I'm just candid with them. I'll be like, hey, you're actually a strong shooter. Like you're actually shooting really well. I think what's holding you back is movement. And you can't move. You got 3 times as much to move. So like, if you got in shape, kicked some butt, you'd move your scores way up faster than putting a new red dot on that thing. And we have other folks that really do come out with the wrong gear, or the gear's not working for them while they're here. And so we just run and we grab them something out of the demo box, and it's like, hey, here, just shoot this the rest of the day. But they're not buying skill, they're buying reliability in that scenario, where it's like, it does need to work. The gear does need to work. If it doesn't work and you're battling you're troubleshooting gear the whole time, like, it's not an accurate representation of where your skill level is at when you see scores, right? So like, you got to find stuff that works and does hit the target if you do everything right. If it does that, though, beyond that, yeah, it's all you, it's all us. You have the skills actually capable to do it.
Do you see any trends that are out there right now that maybe you just don't understand? Like, hey, why are so many people doing that? For me, it is the like stacked optics on top of what is already like a high riser. So maybe you have an LPVO that's already on like a very high mount already, and then you're putting an RMR or another red dot that's even higher on that.
Yep.
I don't get that either.
Yeah. The ultra high mount in general is what I would reference in that spot, where it's like, I do get it. I do have gas masks. I do have bump helmets. I do have nods. I do have all this gear that's supposed to optimize. But the moment I don't have a cheek weld on my stock is the moment I lose a point of contact. So like, I'm not going to shoot as well if I'm not in the gun. Like, I'm controlling some of the recoil by actually putting, my face on that gun. And so I don't get those either. The dot on top I do get, but not for shooting fast. So like, I'll use that on like a precision gun where, if you got 20x in your scope dialed and you got tons of zoom, like, you can get in there and have trouble finding the target. But if you look through the red dot and then you just tip your head down and then it's right in the scope, kind of sweet, right? So it does make sense for that application. But yeah, unlike a SBR sitting on top, I don't want to be like way up, no cheek weld on the gun. So I guess I could be convinced either way, but I currently haven't found an application where I believe that makes sense. Not for me anyway, not the way I shoot.
It's not good enough for Josh. It's not good enough for me. That's all I'm saying. It's crap. That's what I heard. It's crap.
I can always learn something new, but yeah, when I've picked them up so far, I'm like, yeah. Instead of getting on behind the gun, I'm doing one of these things to try to see what's going on. And I'm like,
yeah. See, I'm a newbie to. I just acquired some night vision not that long ago, and trying to set something up to actually shoot while wearing that has become a task to me. I'm like, oh, I actually do need like that 2-inch riser that's been sitting in the box on my desk for the last 3 years. Now that actually is going to come into play to put an optic on top of that. And so it's interesting. I've spent way too much money in the last 2 weeks. Let's be honest. Yeah. But when it all comes together, it should be very fun is what I'm getting excited for that. Yeah.
And I mean, for me, what I end up doing is I aim with IR laser almost exclusively when I'm playing with nods. It's just fun. Like, anyway, you're literally down here. You don't even have to be in the gun. It's just laser on, shoot. Like, that to me is the way I really like. It's fun shooting that way. So I don't necessarily need to see through the dot on the gun. If the laser's on the target, I just send it.
Yeah. Josh, before we keep you too long, is there any other AK? Well, I know you've probably got many other stages, but I'm an AK stage guy or match guy. Is there any other ones you're going to this year where I might bump into you and be able to bother you a little bit more in person?
Yeah, I'm going to AK Masters. Okay. So I'll be going down there, and then if I can make it, I'm going to come over to that Tundra match again too.
Hell yeah. You heard it here first, people. Sign up now, even though we're already full. But the wait list, it's bussing. There's a lot of people in there that you can also, be a part of.
Nice.
My guy Paul's he's helped set up Thunder. So if you sign up, I'm sure we can bump your name up there a little bit. Right,
Sweet.
Paul? A couple people might fall off the list.
Listen, I'm not going to say anything.
I'll try to find a sponsor to send me over there.
There you go.
I got a new a little 8-inch Galil that was a pistol, converted to an SBR, and it's a machine gun now.
Oh, I was sitting here bragging about my 8-inch Galil. I'm like, oh, I have one. Oh no, yours is better.
Yeah,
let me tell you,
mine has the extra click.
Yeah, I put the unrivaled brake on this thing, and it is insanely fun. And nobody else around me likes it as much as I do.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's not for them; it's for me. Okay, but I shot that was that Thunder last year, and there was a stage where you had to shoot like in between two barrels, and it was insanely loud. But I had the biggest smile on my face after that stage. It was so much fun.
I am anti big break. I will come out and say it right now. So if I'm designing a stage, you're shooting out of a car, you're shooting through a barrel. Like I want to punish the people that are punishing me as an RO. That like you better be wearing double ear pro, because
that's the deal. That's the move. Like I bring foamies and muffs, and I don't care. Shoot,
and then run duct tape around them too, so there's literally no ability for any sound to seep in there. I understand that they obviously cut down on recoil, and hey, they can smooth out what's out there. I will just like the unrivaled. I feel like that is now kind of the meta build that a lot of AK guys have out there. They're phenomenal brakes. This is nothing against Unrivaled or Dissident or anybody who makes these brakes. They're phenomenal feats of engineering. I just don't like them. I'm not saying this is rational.
Yeah,
this is my irrational moment for the day.
They're not fun to stand around while someone else shoots. Yeah.
Now I can be 20 yards behind you and I can still get a time. Like it's not like where I'm running a suppressor where I got to be right next to the port because you're running 300 black, subsonic. It's like, hey, I'm back here with the timers. You're good, dog. Like, keep going.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're nice to shoot with, though, for sure.
I remember I shot one and I felt like I was getting a tan because it was the first time that I'd seen it Unrivaled. And I don't know if they just had it tuned wrong or something, but they were like, yeah, this is great. And I was like, oh, hey, like I'll try anything out once. And I'm shooting and it's literally like a flashbang is going off in front of my face. And I've got it out here. I'm like, you know what, guys, I'm happy you're happy. I'll just leave it at that. But this isn't for me.
Yeah, there's some concussion that comes along with it for sure.
Big time. I know that we've only got you here for a couple more minutes, but one thing that I do want to talk about when it comes to your company, F5 Productions, you kind of call it out where it is, everything from strategic planning, campaign execution, digital and print advertising, social media management, influencer partnerships, kind of a holistic approach to marketing when it comes to, firearms in the firearm space.
Yep.
What unique challenges come along with marketing in this space that maybe some people don't consider, or some things where if there is a wannabe influencer out there, Jamie, some advice that you might want to give to them if they're looking to kind of expand into this marketing space?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun place to market because it's hard, right? It's what it's why we've been able to grow at our firm. So we work with dozens of cool brands in the space, and all the social platforms try to shut us down all the time. And being good at still getting the eyeballs you need in order to actually show your stuff off online today, it relies on some pretty different strategies than the rest of the world. So like on one end, we'll do content for brands like Polaris and equipment brands and like not scary brands at all, right? Mm-hmm. And like we can put a piece of content out. They got 1 million followers. They'll get 2 million views. It's like, oh, wow. They showed that to 1 million extra people. We produce something for Magpul, 1 million followers, and they'll show it to 100,000 people. It's like what's going on? And so you got to deal with that first and foremost. But once you figure out that like these new collaborations, for instance, on like Instagram. So if I produce a piece of content and it's American Defense mount on the optic, Vortex glass, Magpul, mags, IWI gun, and I loop all of them in as a collaborator. That means they get to run it on their page at the same time as I run it on mine. Now we get all of their eyeballs, and maybe then we get back into that million with 1 million followers. And so like we're leveraging the collaborations really, really hard right now. And all you got to do in order to do that well is have content that the other brands want to run. So if you do a really good job building content, it's beautiful. When they see that collaboration request, they look at it and they're like, this is awesome. Like, I don't have to pay for this. Sweet. Send it. Like, they'll approve it. And so ultimately it's content quality is key, along with some of those collaborations on social. Get us about equal eyeballs to other industries if we do it right. You just got to do it right. And so, I mean, all that means is content that's good enough that they'd want to run it on their channels, these other brands. And that could be other people, other brands, whoever's in the content, like loop them in. And if the content's good enough that they'd be proud to run it on their channel, there you go. You got eyeballs. So that's the current strategy that works really, really good. And that'll probably change a week from now, and we'll have to adjust. So we're a marketing agency in the firearm space. We got about 60 clients. We manage all of the everything for some, and just do content for others. But every month we're assessing what works, what doesn't work. We try new things. We try to get away with doing paid ads. They get shut down. We play all the games, and you just got to get comfortable getting, can't put all your eggs in one basket. You got to put stuff everywhere, and you got to just try different things. And, for us, fortunately, we get to see about 50 different brands and how things perform every month. And so then we can make adjustments moving forward. So we're in a unique position in the gun space because most companies don't focus in this space. And the ones that do typically have access to a handful tops of data points, where we've got tons. And so when we see something that works, we go all in, like right now, and we move fast, and that moves the needle for our clients, which is cool.
You called out quality as being one of the primary factors. Is there like a ranking of quality? Like when I've seen you and your crew out at some of these matches, you're coming out with very nice cameras, like studio quality cameras. You're not coming out with GoPros.
Right.
Do you have a kind of ranking in terms of if you are going to go for a video effort in marketing? Hey, quality has to start with the actual video itself, and then we'll rank priorities kind of down from there. Or is it not so much a fill triangle? It is, hey, quality has to be in terms of video production, the audio has to be there, the color saturation has to be there, the edit also has to be there, or is it, hey, we can if we can get these three to be where we want it to be, audio, visual, then we can kind of put more of our time and effort into that side of the house? Or is it, hey, this really has to be a full package, otherwise it's not going to do the numbies that we're expecting it to do?
Yeah. So if it's for my own channel, I think it's all cool. Like, I think a cell phone's cool on my own channel. But when I'm doing it on my cell phone and I'm producing it that way, I don't have to get someone else excited about it to run it, right? But if I'm doing brand content that they're paying marketing dollars, and I want the other big brands to want to run it on their channel to get some of these collaborations on social and pick the content up, because we get their eyeballs. Again, if they got 1 million followers and we collaborate with them, we got their 1 million followers to see our content on this brand's partner's channel. And so it's like, for us, it has to be to the nines. Like, it has to be beautiful. Anybody that sees that collaboration request looks at the video and goes, well, yeah, accept. Because if we don't, and we miss an opportunity to get 500, 600, 1 million extra views on something like that, it's just, it's not worth it. The client's going to come back at the end of the month with each of these client relationships. I have to go, all right, we went to this place and we billed you this dollar amount, and who saw it, right? Because they've got to be able to explain that. And not only that, but it's like, who saw it and who clicked the link and who went to the website and who actually made a purchase.
Oh, yeah.
Because if I can't go, all right, we made these videos about this thing and you got 58,000 in sales, but you spent $5,000. Like if I can do that, sweet, we double the project size next month. If I can't do that, they go, cool video,
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah.
You know, like that. It's tough to make a business out of neat stuff, and so yeah, we're always looking to wrap metrics around it. And in order to get good metrics with the current way that social's working with the collaborations, content's just got to be fire every
Yeah.
time.
And then see, Josh, I'm on a much smaller scale than you. I'm just a guy with a few GoPros and a girlfriend that holds them frequently. And I try to make cool stuff, but it's like, especially with YouTube videos, it's like I find myself, you're constantly chasing the rabbit of what just came out. What can I get my hands on real quick? Like, oh, nobody's talked about this yet. Let me try to make a video for this.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like I work so hard at trying to figure out, okay, oh, so and so just, this just happened with this company. Let me get something from them. And then, like, it seems like there's been times where I've put a lot of effort and time into something and it doesn't do that great. And then there's other times where it's just me. Hey, I'm just here
Man, the robot is really killing him today.
at the range. We're going to practice some 2-gun. We're just going to, can you hear me though?
No, you're back. Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like videos like with low effort will like do fantastic. And it's like, I don't know. It's a game that I can't not a game I can't understand, but it's a matrix that's hard to understand sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, again, though, if your goal on creating the content is to just put out good content for yourself and, and build your own personal credibility in the space, talk about brands you're excited about, talk about things you're excited about, and you're not like expecting some other brand to cut you a big check or to run that on their page. 100%. I agree. I can run something on my cell phone today. That's just me BSing on the range. It might get better views than something we spent $3,000 to produce. It might. But it's going to get better views on my channel, but none of the brands that I would want them to run it are going to accept that collaboration.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where it's like, what do you want to do with the media? You want to build your own credibility, build your influence in the space, talk about things you're excited about. I don't really care then. Audio quality is still big because nobody's going to listen to you for more than 10 seconds if they can't keep up from an audio perspective. I actually care more about audio on YouTube than I do about even video quality. Because again, if you want to like spend 3 minutes talking and your audio is all jarbled, like nobody's hanging out that long, like nobody's doing it. But yeah, just figure out what you want to do with it. And if it's brand content, like, for a marketing department at a big company, we gotta go all in. If it's something I want to run on my own personal social channel or like my F5 range channel, and we're out there setting something up for a class this weekend, I'll jump right on the cell phone and just run it. Like, nice. Then it's cool. Yeah.
What other content do you consume that might drive some of the creativity that's out there? Like for me, I feel like car content is shot so wonderfully, and their use of drones is like far surpassing a lot of like what I'm seeing elsewhere. That a lot, even going back as far as like old episodes of Top Gear, like the way that they shot that visually is so profound, almost where it's almost like every piece it could be a painting. That I find that somewhat inspirational. Is there any content out there outside of the firearm space where you go, man, they're killing it, and you can kind of wrap some of that up into what you want to do? Yeah,
dude, supercars is awesome. So I consume tons of supercar content, and like my Instagram between me and my editing team is all like cool supercar videos where it's like, look at this transition, like money, like we got to find a way to loop some gun content with that same style of transition, or any of that. I mean, you'll even see on a lot of our product videos today, we use something called speed ramping, where it truly is stuff that they've been using in the auto space for a while, but it's never been part of the firearm space from an editing perspective. And we use it constantly. And so a lot of stuff in that space for like the bigger, more action and like bigger product videos. And then studio stuff, I actually consume a lot, and it sounds silly, but like a lot of like paid ad where I don't care if it's watches or if it's jewelry or any of that. Some of this, like, you get a staged product that's doing nothing, like, a box of ammo sitting on the table. Like, how do you make that interesting with nothing else there, right? Between lighting and maybe the table spinning, maybe the camera's spinning on a slider or whatever. Like, I like watching what they did to make a can of Pepsi look cool, right? Because if they can do that with that, I can do that with anything that we've got in our space too. And so some of those supporting video pieces where it's like, man, you'd think that thing sitting on the table would be pretty boring, but like they made that look cool. What did they do?
Made me want to buy that.
Yeah.
Damn, I need a Pepsi. I thought I was a Coke man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got me. You got me. Also, I'm on Amazon and I got some more.
Right.
There are some guys on YouTube where I can tell that they grew up in like the skateboard space or like shooting skateboarders, just because like the action movement of skateboarding is almost like, if it's almost like filming a stage, because they're doing the same thing over and over again. Hey, you want to hit this 10 stair? Like, you start here, you end here. There's kind of only one way that this can go. And I can almost tell, like, hey, I know that you probably shot skateboarders at one point in time, just because of the way that you are like following this person around the stage, or the fisheye lens that's out there.
Yeah.
So I'm always just curious to see like where other people grab inspiration from.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the short answer is everything. I can't watch a movie now and not look at the way they shot it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the job, right? That's literally what our job is to, make things compelling, make them beautiful, catch your eye, make you want to hang out a little, even if it's 3 seconds longer, just like keep you, because we're in this scroll world where everybody's sleeping. So it's like everything I watch, I'm consuming for probably more for like looking for cool things people are doing than it is caring too much what the actual content's about.
One of my pastimes is going onto IMDb and looking at goofs, like where all the nerds come in and they're like, hey, this shot here, this is actually flipped. And I was just on a flight and I was watching the first John Wick, and there's a Willem Dafoe shot where he's shooting into the hotel to protect John Wick, and his right-handed bolt action turns into a left-handed bolt action. And it's only 3 seconds, but I literally stopped the screen and I went back and I was like, how did this work? Because for me, even if I'm not looking at it from the perspective of a cinematographer, I still know how guns work. Like I'm looking at it from that perspective and I'm like, what happened here? But then I went down a rabbit hole of like, okay, the reason why the shot was flipped is because in your mind's eye, like the rifle barrel is going from the left-hand side of the screen to the right-hand side of the screen, and it makes more sense into the shot that he was making to then like have it go that way. But is there anything that you can think of recently where you just almost had to like pause the video and be like, why do they do this? Why does this look this way? This isn't right. And it like just completely took you out of the moment.
Yep. Well, one of them was actually in one of our edits for the same type of reason, for flow on a transition. One of the guys threw the exhaust coming out of this machine. It wasn't very apparent, but the exhaust was actually sucking back into the machine. So I knew he reversed the video. Like, kind of creepy. It was low light. The lights were on the video. I was like, I can't get around it. I can't do it. I understand that we're going to like break rules for transitions by like, going opposite way. Like I get it. Either way, it's going to mess with me a little bit. I'm like, we got to run it the right way. Like my brain can't handle exhaust getting sucked back into a machine. I can't do it. It's too much. So
that is one that always stands out to me. Especially like in older movies where they had like or like musicals where they'll have like the female protagonist and it'll be like she's coming out of the water. I know that you just reversed that shot.
Yeah.
Because it's like the way that they blink is different than if it was actually going to work that way. And that reverse shots always are just like, give me not the heebie-jeebies, but it's almost like I know what you did there. You're not hiding this from me.
No. So, and I can't even put my finger on it usually for like the first second or so. I got to watch it again. But you your brain knows something's off. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't want that unless it is a creepy content, unless it is something where I'm like, I actually want to make you feel weird after you watch it. Like that's about the only time I really want to do that. Because otherwise it's a distraction. Right.
Yes.
And which is a problem.
So I think in my next video, I'm going to have to edit some reverse video in there just to mess with people. Like, did that bullet just go back? The casing just go back in the pistol? Yeah. But Josh, we've had you for an hour 30. I don't want to bug you for too much longer, and I think I've already overstayed my welcome. But I got to go get a new rental car soon. But a quick question, unless Paul, I'm sure Paul has many of other things, and so do I. But I got to get this out of the way. What's your favorite breakfast cereal?
Oatmeal.
Really? Just hard.
Yeah.
Okay, now see, I can't be mad at that because I go to Costco now and I buy the 10-pound bag of oatmeal.
Yeah.
Man, the robot's really getting them today.
And every morning I get this frozen.
Now you're back.
It's the Redcon protein powder and it's blueberry cobbler. It's like a couple months ago it was banana nut bread protein powder, and every day I just get one of those going for work.
Yeah,
so
dude.
I can appreciate the oatmeal.
Yeah, half a dozen eggs. I crush eggs like
every day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
See, I do about 4, and I think that's too much because I do about 3 in the morning. Okay, maybe I do half a dozen because then I'll do about 3 when I get home for dinner. Yeah, all right, I'm there with you.
Yeah, and big old bowl of oatmeal, depending on what I'm doing that day. But
Josh, I'm sorry for my facial expression there. I wasn't familiar with your game. That is a lot of eggs.
Yeah. I eat 6 to a dozen eggs a day. I'll eat at least a pound of wild game, and then for lunch, and then whatever I'm doing for dinner. So I crush some protein. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that. All right, I got to write this down because I'm definitely not in the same group. This is Body by Pizza over here. I'm that guy, but. Yeah, I've got so many questions when it comes to audio and things like that. But as Jamie just described, we don't want you to keep you for too long. Obviously, we'd love to have you back. You consume a lot of content. We appreciate you being the #1 listener to the Shoot Are You Ready podcast. As we track metrics, we're doing numbies over there in Minnesota. So can't thank you enough for being here today.
Awesome. Well, I enjoyed talking with you guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing you out at some AK match in the near future.
Nice.
I will be there at Masters. Just don't ask me to run or stand up. I don't want to show my real height to the people that are out there.
Okay. Yeah.
Josh, I appreciate you. Is there anything you want to spit out before we end this charade?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, you're the best, man, and I can't thank you enough for this.
It's really getting them.
Yes, but I'm gonna end this. You guys are both fine on my end. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, whatever. The audio is gonna be great. Thank you guys for listening to the Shoot Are You Ready podcast. This has been a great episode, if you ask me. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a homie, all that fun stuff. That's all I got because Josh got to get out of here. But we love you guys. Have a good one.
Shoot ready.
Yep.
Shooter ready? Stand by. Shooter ready. Stand by.
Shooter, are you ready? Stand by.
Shooter ready. Stand by.